So much for sleep, right? I'm gonna read some of this stuff from Mr. Gavagan's site. Some people were typing and replying, and so I'm just gonna read a few of them. This one is from Zagarath14. It says, "This story is exactly why people should ignore court of public opinion. You can ruin people's lives like that." And Mara Marks X typed, "Great answer." Girl Force Spidey typed, "The court of public opinion is nothing but emotion and buzzwords that other people have heard. It's never logical. Very rarely are there any facts. A lot of time it's just anger, outrage, and useless venting. The court of public opinion is what drove lynch mobs." And that's exactly the point, is that's what I've been dealing with, is lynch mob mentality. And a lot of people say, well, Sean, you should just get off the internet for a while. Fucking ignore it. Like, the internet isn't where I'm having all of the problems. I have issues in real life. The internet isn't my life. This just happens to be the only way that I'm able to get the word out. The only place that I'm allowed to show anything. And even then, I have to be afraid of what I show. Because some people, if I show the truth, well, they're heavily connected and they'll have everything taken down. Lynch mobs fucking suck. And everybody deserves an honest day in court. When Jamie Curtis told me that James Payton beat the hell out of her, she was bruised, for damn sure. Now, who's the right one to believe in that scenario? Well, given what I know about Jamie and given what I know about James, James is actually the person that should be listened to. This one right here is "I am not a fan," is their name. And it says, "Also why people need to stop feeding the chronic victim narratives and attention vampires of the world. Arse hat incels with nothing better to do feed the egos of these soul suckers, and innocent people pay the price. It disgusts me. Everyone that patted Natalie's arse, telling her how they would love, care, and protect her from Sean, or everything that is wrong with the world. Without them, we wouldn't have a constant supply of Natalies and their constant need to suck everything from everyone who is stupid enough to care. She's gone. She gave nothing but took everything and then some. Good riddance." Although that's not my opinion, that is this person's opinion, and they're allowed to have it. I'm also allowed to block them if I don't like their opinion. Now, this is on Rob Gavagan's site, not mine, but nonetheless, it's easy to block those things. Now, why didn't I just go block those things? Because those are the same things that I had to deal with people saying in person. But in person, they weren't just saying things. In person, they couldn't keep their nasty cockbeaters to themselves. And why didn't they keep their nasty cockbeaters to themselves? Because of slander. Sean, you just need to get off of Facebook for a while. Sean, you just need to get off of YouTube for a while. I need some positivity in my life. I do. A lot of people say, Sean, I don't have any positivity in my life. And I'm like, I can hear you and your kids playing from across the street. You guys are pretty loud. You laugh and you smile and you make jokes. Train. that releases a lot of important chemicals into your body that your body produces. It is important. It's even essential for mental health. Familiarity isn't just important for people with autism. It's important for everybody. Constantly moving gets stressful. And a lot of folks say, well, if those homeless people stay in one place long enough to get a job, as soon as you've been there long enough to get a job, the police got your number and they're trying to harass you to leave. Here's another one. It's Sacred Geometry, We Are Stardust. This is another name of someone who commented. But they never do. Everybody loves a damn witch hunt. And they do. They certainly do. Please help, call 911. I've been kidnapped. LOLJP is this person's name. That's a long name. Typed, people don't care. They love to gossip, lie, condemn others, and join in on the fun. Try to force things into a certain direction. When confronted with reality and facts, never do they backpedal, man up, and apologize. Then next thing happens and they do it over again. Yep, pretty much. Although I apologize. I apologize a lot. A lot of people type man up. I've already admitted to everything that I did wrong. I also admitted to everything that I did illegal. And I do not see them as the same thing. There's a lot of stuff that I got wrong, but then if you look at the information that I was getting from people that are supposed to be trustworthy, yeah, you're not going to make the right decisions with that information. You're not going to make the right decisions when people are lying to you. When you get to a fork in the road, you don't trust the signs because, first of all, you can't read them, and second of all, they're broken, so they're both pointing at the ground. So you ask somebody who's local, somebody who's there at the crossroads, probably somebody who's got a shovel in their hand, is working in the area, and, well, looks like somebody who would know. You don't have any reason not to trust their word. You say, hey, I'm trying to find such and such village. Let's say we're trying to find Chapel, Nebraska, and there's a cutoff. And the guy says, oh, yeah, you need to take the fork on the right. And the fork on the right doesn't take you to Chapel, it takes you to hell. But he's not going to tell you that. Now, when it's somebody who knows that if you go to the left, you go to Chapel, and if you go to the right, you go to hell, if they know that and they lie to you anyway, and you're having to make decisions based off of that person's information because you don't have other more useful or more pertinent information, or these are the people who are supposed to know, like Natalie's family and their bullshit, and the police and their bullshit. Natalie and Alicia and I on Virginia Beach, we all had a conversation about how they are pretty, and we didn't talk about her looks very often, either one of them. But we talked about their looks on Virginia Beach for a reason. I warned them about situations like this, about how men will do evil things just because they're pretty. By the way, there's about 80 of these, and there's a lot of people who type things that are just, if they'd been here all along, they'd realized that I've been having issues with all this stuff all along. Um, Let's see, Rabbit O typed, that's true. It just puts blinders on people and they keep looking at person X instead of going to find who did it, which is exactly what happened to me. And mind you, this is not me reading comments on this video. This is me reading comments from Rob Gavagan's site, of course. Here's one from a week ago from someone whose name is fucked. FVCKED, though, instead of FEKED. Says that's why you find a pro bono lawyer and sue the fuck out of them. Nobody does this because they're so fucking cheap. Most could pay for it and not notice too. The less and less people get held accountable, the more and more often it happens. The last decade's been a perfect example of the crazy ramp up. And that's the thing, is that this person, I don't have any money, haven't had any money in the last 2 years. All of my money from disability, because I am disabled, was being spent going to the courts and paying them for the officers who assaulted me. Meanwhile, they wouldn't investigate those crimes against me without pressure from the public, and the public at the time was busy hating on me. I've called hundreds of lawyers, and the lawyers tell me, well, here's a list of things we need from you. And I go and I talk to the people who claim to be my friends, claim that they love me, claim that they want to help me, and I say, this is what I need from you. Oh, yeah, Sean, I promise I'll do that. I promise I'll do that. I'll promise I'll do that. Hey, Sean, if you spend some money on this, if you spend some money on that, like, fuck, I need help. I'm spending all my money to make you guys happy because you promised to help. I mean, legally, what you did at that point is against the law because you're taking advantage of a disabled person and an at-risk adult. And yes, people who are autistic are at risk. And most of that isn't because of our social issues, it's because of yours. Because every time that you meet somebody, you make an assessment. Is this somebody that I can get away with victimizing? Most of you do this. You do it without even thinking about it. This person is typed, actually, I want to go back to this comment before where they typed, most could pay for it and not notice too. Well, I couldn't pay for it, and I definitely noticed. And people keep making that suggestion to me, Sean, you should sue them, you should sue them, you should sue them. Well, there's stuff that you need in order to sue them. One of those things is the ability to get all of the information together in one place without it being stolen. And that's just not going to happen when you're homeless. The first thing that you need is a safe environment. And a safe environment for somebody who has PTSD, well, having to stay with an alcoholic who's busy screaming the whole time, that's not going to help. All right. This one right here, their name is Hi. Of course, I would like a sample then. And they typed, I agree, happens far too often. I watched this new Michael Jackson documentary, and after years of assuming he was guilty, I actually think he might have been innocent. How we follow the herd. I typed exactly, but I was actually typing exactly something much further up. All right, this person's name is Samuel. He typed, camera guy backs into a car and Sean replies, well done, sir. Yeah, this man is innocent for sure. And then Giuliano Araujo typed, haha, I didn't see it at first. Sean explaining himself when the reporter and her crew came into his personal space was so touching, and sadly a look at mental illness we often forget. I don't like the term mentally ill. I don't. Or mental illness, because it's too broad of a statement. There are too many things that can go along with that, and too many of those things can be used as excuses. to turn a blind eye and allow people who are victims to be victimized further, or even to take part in that victimization. You know, some of these cops probably didn't intend on victimizing me. They thought I was the bad guy. Although most of these cops, especially the ones in Boulder, they know who the bad guys are and they know who it is who stuck up to them all these years. Now, that person who typed Sean explaining himself, that one's got 32 replies to it. So I'm not going to click on that. You guys can go to this on your own if you'd like. This person's name is Pensive Secret. They typed a week ago. This is the sort of true story that usually never gets told. Propaganda against the mentally ill is one of the most easily profitable ventures these days, and that's very true. Thank you for not being a part of that and for standing out from the rest. What we have here is a story of two mentally ill people trying to survive and help one another, only to be turned against one another by their own illnesses. It wasn't illnesses. It was a whole bunch of people who thought that it was their place to get involved, their business to get involved, and their place to play judge, jury, and executioner without an honest day in court. Well, actually, at that point in time, without a day in court at all. It wasn't until later on that I had to jump through the kangaroo courts, and that's because the police did so much illegal stuff. But then again, there's also the public pretenders. See, there were many occasions when Natalie and I could have hashed out our issues. Many. She just had to make the decision to do so. Now, me, I tried to get a court date. I tried to get the police to listen. I tried to get my therapist to listen. I'm jumping through all these fucking hoops that people say, if you do this, it'll help. If you do that, it'll help. None of it gets it so that I can see my loved ones. None of it takes away the abuse that I had to endure. None of it will fix my back. None of it will fix my legs. None of it is going to fix what the police did to me through their repeated physical harm. And then police officers, when they do something illegal and they claim that they've got their body cam on, you still have to, apparently, according to these officers, and by the way, their voices are recorded right here on this very YouTube, saying that I have to get a lawyer in order to have access to that. I spent literally thousands of hours collecting evidence. Thousands of hours. That was before I ultimately had to break the law in order to force the police to take a look, to force an outside agency to look at how many departments were actually involved in this. From Haxton, Colorado, with Officer Michael Beard, to Officer Michael West in Boulder, Colorado, just before Natalie died. Officer Steinman, well, this is one of the few situations where he's not even part of the story. Most of the time, he's the ringleader. He's the guy right there pushing it. He's the one who trained these officers to be bullies. Although most of them were hired on because they had those traits. With Natalie, it wasn't her mental illness that was the issue. It's the fact that she wanted to be loved by people who don't love her family. I get that. I got a family that's the same way. For me, my issue is that I wanted to see my loved ones, and I couldn't because Natalie didn't tell the truth because she wanted to make her loved ones happy. She wanted to make the sister who always had to be the center of attention happy. She wanted her mother, who abandoned her for abusive men, to love her the right way. She wanted her dad, who raped her and molested her and beat her up, got drunk, and had her selling drugs on Pearl Street at 13 years of age. She wanted that man to love her. All he loves is meth. And at this point, that's all her sister loves as well. There is just so much here. Here's one from Tails Clock. It says, it sounds like Natalie was planning to blame it on Sean as she prepared the event. If I am found dead, it was him. Makes it clear. Natalie was hoping to end two lives. What makes it worse is that Sean seemed like the only one to even acknowledge Natalie's suicidal tendencies, let alone care about them. The real culprit is not the one that shot, but the ones that drove her to ask to be shot. Sean already pointed to her family, and right now I trust him. You know, here's the thing is that they drove me to the point that I was begging people to shoot me for a whole year before Natalie did. I asked easily 100 people to kill me. I offered my vehicle to Maddie Boa if she'd kill me. I told Tim Beeson when he threatened to kill me that I'd dig my own hole. They put me through hell, and so did the police. I needed help. I needed help putting a stop to this, but the police didn't care. They don't care why you're suicidal. What they care about is they can lock you up and harm you and get away with it. In one of those situations, Officer McRae tried pretending that I was suicidal so that she could prevent me from making a report against her and retaliate against me for actually making a report, although they didn't take it. I got a lot of documentation of this stuff on this YouTube. I went through quite a bit of those papers, but there's just so many. I mean, there's a lot. And then there's the expenses of getting all of the electronic crap that's needed. All of this USB crap, these USB sticks that I gotta figure out how to use. And then I think that it's all going fine. I'm finally starting to get a little bit of help. There's people who are willing to help me, and then everything gets stolen, and the police, they just play stupid. And when I have a meltdown, people throw me away and treat me like shit. I'm having a meltdown for a fucking reason. I'm not having a meltdown for no reason. And that's what people don't get. I mean, there's the people who are victimized to the point where they start believing what people fucking shove at them. Like, yeah, you're having a panic attack because you're stuck in a house with a dad who rapes you, but everybody in the house, they're like, no, you're freaking out for no reason. You're freaking out for no reason. You're freaking out for no reason. You don't want to tell them that your daddy's still doing what he was because the last time you told them they didn't believe you. Eventually, you start spouting the same bullshit they spout at you. Yeah, I don't know why I'm freaking out. I don't know why I'm freaking out. You're right. I don't know why I'm freaking out. I just freak out sometimes. No, you don't. No, the fuck you don't. If you're having a panic attack, there's a fucking reason. There is something major going on. And yeah, it's a stressor for a fucking reason. Amber typed, I think it's sad how she said, if anything happens to me, he did it. Sean did it. Especially if she was intending to take her own life. I understand what it's like to be suicidal and addicted to meth, but don't leave this world making people believe an innocent man was responsible. I hope she's in a better place, and I hope Sean can move on with his life. I don't get to move on with my life, Amber. I don't. No matter what, because of the court dates that they had without me, and because of the assaults that I had to go through, I can't physically take care of myself because of the things that were done to me. Because of the railroadings in the court, I will never get an honest day in court ever again. I will never be allowed to go to Colorado and see my loved ones without being victimized by the police. I have warrants out in the state of Colorado that shouldn't have even been there. I went to every single court date. Every single court date. And they prevented me from going to court dates and then claimed that I had made no effort to go to my court dates. Public pretenders don't do their jobs. They don't have to. They get paid either way. There is no incentive for them to do the right thing. And if they actually cared about their jobs or cared about the people that they're supposedly working for, they would actually do their jobs. Then there's the ignorance of the American public. My public pretenders, when I told them that I needed them to actually defend me, they all told me the same thing. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed, they're not allowed, they're not allowed. I have to hire a real attorney for that. Did they say real attorney? No, they didn't. They have too much ego for that. I put this underneath my chair because it keeps me warm. It's one of those things. Now, the very first 16 minutes or so of this Mike Gavagan thing, a lot of people didn't even listen to the whole thing. They only went through part of it. And then after going through part of it, they started sending me messages. The mean kind. Of course, I'm pretty used to them. Mr. Morris says 9 hours ago, edited, I don't feel too bad for her. Mental problems or not, she put an innocent guy in a dangerous position for absolutely no reason. What a dirtbag. Daniel Iglesias typed, I understand that she might have actually been afraid of him and misunderstood him, but knowing that she was going to soon end her own life, why would she put a target on Sean? What a disgusting human being. Aldo Malage typed, Sean was not a bad guy. However, in the mind of someone who has suicidal thoughts, a person like him can push someone over the edge. Can you imagine a creepy guy following you, possibly rape and murder you? Except that I didn't follow her. Matter of fact, I drove 1,700 miles to get away from her. When I went to Virginia, it was at her request. And people always forget that. Like, they want to play like after I left Virginia, like I had followed her to Colorado. Shit, I didn't even know she was in fucking Colorado. The thing is that she knew that people were harming me. She was aware of it. Maddie Bowe was aware of it. And Alicia Bollinger was aware of it. The problem is I didn't know how to take screenshots, or I'd have shown them at least with that. Now, there's no screenshots in real life. None. If somebody comes at you and starts swinging at you and calling you all sorts of names and accusing you of doing something to some little girl in Virginia, if you don't have your camera there and handy, you don't get to take a screenshot of that. Now, if they send you some mean messages, you can screenshot that, but you still need somebody to take a look at it. And if nobody's willing to take a look at it or help you to get it to the people that need to take a look at it, it doesn't matter. Now, although Malaj also typed, even a normal person could become stressful and have paranoia. Maybe she wasn't a disgusting human being, as you say. Maybe she had enough and blamed Sean for pushing her over the edge, even though he had only good intentions. That could explain why she wanted to blame him after her death. Food for thought. Betty by Bunny typed Sean probably could relate to Natalie and felt a closeness with her. He was probably naive to how it made her feel and didn't mean to come across as predatory or creepy. He seems lonely. Here's the thing, is that it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. See, the thing is that if you tell me something, that's what I'm going to go by. If you tell me that you're going to kill yourself if I'm not there or if I'm not already on the road, and then you drive your vehicle into a tree, yeah, I'm going to have a reaction to that. If you tell me that you're not going to get on the airplane unless I promise to go to Virginia to visit you, then yeah, I'm going to pay attention to that. And I am lonely. That's the fucking biggest issue. I hurt my back in 2015 on my birthday, and I haven't had friends since. I've had lots of empty promises from people who claim that they were my friends, claim that they loved me, claim that they thought of me as family. When the difference between them ending up dead or having the life that they do now was me speaking up, well, I spoke up, but they didn't. And why is that? Because most of the public was set against me from the start. They hated me, they harmed me, they abused me repeatedly, and the police would do nothing about it. Me and Natalie did relate, and that's because we went through a lot of the same shit. Now, Altoid Bazinga typed, he probably has very few friends, and that's why he focused on her. Actually, I had a lot of friends, or so I thought, and then I hurt my back, and they couldn't get any more free labor out of me. It's kind of like my artwork. People love my artwork, but when it comes to paying me for that artwork, they're not going to do it. They're going to make lots of empty promises and never follow through. And then when I have to carry that artwork for 6 months in my fucking backpack and it gets ruined by the weather, does that mean that I didn't spend the time to draw it? No, it doesn't. It just means that I wasted my time for your empty promises. One picture, I drew it for a guy who he was supposed to bring me money so that I could get on the bus and go to work. I drew the picture that he wanted. He didn't show up, and I wasn't able to get on the bus and wasn't able to go to work. 6 months down the road, he wants that picture for free. He was like, I already paid you for it, Sean. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't pay me for it. You said that you would pay me half up front and half when it was finished, and you never paid the half up front. I started drawing it because I needed the money. I finished the drawing because I needed the money. You never paid me, and I'm not going to give you this piece of paper for free. I'm tired of doing shit for free. When we made an agreement with all of these people, we made an agreement. Everywhere that I went since Natalie died, we made an agreement. And everywhere that I went, people didn't keep their word. And they don't have to. They can just call me mentally ill and it's fine. There really are a lot of these. JP typed, she's the one who got herself involved with him in the first place, yet she tried to dramatize him. She had issues. That's very true. 170 people liked that comment. Dalton Phelps typed, and he has plenty of texts showing she texted him back. Not as a lover, but as a source because she wanted to kill herself. She was trying to blame it on him and not whoever really helped her do it. Someone who calls themselves Let's Go Blues typed, I'm guessing and thinking there's no way that they didn't become friends because of drugs. Well, roundabout sort of, because see, I don't do drugs and she did. She just happened to be down there selling drugs to people that I know. And no, I didn't even know she was selling drugs until she told me about it when she was 18. She'd been selling drugs for her dad since she was 13. So roundabout, we didn't become friends because of drugs, though. I knew her because she was selling drugs for her dad, or I knew of her, rather. If she hadn't been selling drugs for her dad, she probably wouldn't have been down there on Pearl Street or down at the library. We became friends because we both went through similar hell, similar families, going through the system. The difference between her and I, though, is that she was taking a lot of illegal drugs. And me, I got fucked up on the legal ones enough growing up that by the time I was 17, I was done with them. Let's see. Fatero typed, horrible take. Just getting involved with someone means you're not allowed to distance yourself or complain about them down the road. The issue isn't her getting herself involved or whatever. It's whether or not she was telling the truth and what happened. Like, if he really had been a stalker, though he wasn't, she's allowed to dramatize him even if she'd gotten herself involved with him. Tom Bosley typed, LOL, Sean has proof that she would message him about wanting to die and he would try his best to help her, and yet she would go and then turn around and try to make it seem like he was some stalker. Sounds exactly like multiple women I know who would do this often when they were younger. It is a way of getting a lot of attention, and that's clearly what she wanted. I hope wherever she is at now, she has peace. And there's a lot on here. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I could just keep scrolling for weeks. 4 replies, 38 replies. Let's see. Here's one calls themselves Black Sun. It says she kept a journal. Yeah, you can keep it private. She was a junkie dependent of attention. And that's true. And then Snake the Adversary typed, LOL, Sean looks like a second character with that eye patch. The lady who took that picture, her name is Janine Barrett. She was staying with a guy named Steven. Her and her son and a couple other homeless people were staying there. They invited me over for the night, and Janine had this new app on her phone, and she wanted to test it out. So she wanted me to wear the eye patch, and I put on the eye patch, and I was like, well, that doesn't look crazy enough. Let me do my hair up. And I did my hair up, and I put the eye patch on, and I let her take a picture, and actually that picture is still on my Facebook. Janine died last year, though. She was one of my witnesses in the situations that Happened before and after Natalie died, but mostly before. A lot of those people are dead, though. Rory Jepson is dead, and Anna Hunka's dead, and there's just a lot of dead people. Let's not even get into that. The fact is, there's a lot of things that if you look into them, if you look into Clearview behavioral health, you'll see that the things that I spoke out about before they did that. I spoke out about Clearview before that Tony Kovaleski feller did his little segment on them. I spoke out about Waylon Lolatai before Tony Kovaleski did his little segment on him. That's Denver 7 News, by the way. Anyway, it's looking like well, now I'm wondering who this person even is. This person's name is Moonbot7, and although I've had a few people that I know end up on here and comment on it, I don't recognize Moonbot. But Moonbot type Sean is and was one of the most caring people I ever knew, and glad his name was finally cleared. I want to reply to that one. I wish I knew who you are in real life. I don't recognize your tag. Oh, it didn't type a single letter that I put down. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry, folks. I was on another site, but I'm back. Victor Forrest typed hello. That one, this one typed hi. Lucas Michael typed, hey Sean, how's your day or night going, bud? And that one, this one typed, that's not safe. I'm sorry, I was missing your comments. I was reading stuff off of Mike Gavagan's site. Oh, there it went. Now I can press enter. Hopefully Moonbot 7 gets back to me. Michaela Mager typed, this is so crazy. I went to school with her at Silver Hills Middle School. She was always so happy. God, I didn't know she was gone. Rest in peace. A guy calling himself Gangsta Nerd typed, what kind of person was she? I'm going to reply to that. She was super nice. She had issues, but made time for those she cared about. That's the thing about Natalie and I. We both had a lot in common. We both care about people, and we both been screwed by them. A lot. Anyway, I suppose I should let you all get to bed. Just because I'm not going to get any sleep doesn't mean nobody should.